I'm Major Richard Piltingsrud. I'm the Operations Officer for 1st of the 157th Infantry of the Colorado Army National Guard. For the past 4 days, we've been here at Camp Hale conducting winter operations training. Around approximately 1940, the U.S. Army decided that they needed to start preparing for mountain operations for any potential fight in Europe, and they spent a significant amount of time looking around the continental United States for a suitable training area for them. And after a few years of searching, they determined that Camp Hale provided the best venue for the training that they were looking to conduct. As one of only 3 mountain infantry battalions in the U.S. Army, we have a similar mindset as our World War II predecessors and a similar mission. And so we come up here to conduct individual and collective tasks such as fixed rope ascent, rappelling, mobility, both motorized and non-motorized, and of course, the environment itself is a challenge, so just surviving in this environment is something that we have to train on often as well. Every year in February, we conduct a Winter FTX. It's usually a 3-day exercise. This year, we turned it into a 5-day exercise. We were fortunate to have the 10th Mountain Division reach out to us to ask to conduct training with us here at historic Camp Hale. And so, along with some of our instructors and support staff, we managed to train them in a variety of mobility skills, including fixed rope ascent, which is important when you encounter a vertical obstacle and you need to move soldiers or equipment up or down that obstacle. We conducted rappelling, which is a much quicker way to get only down an obstacle, and motorized mobility with some snowmobiles and SUSVs, which are also important in our domestic operations mission. And of course, ski mobility, which is our bread and butter. As far as skiing goes, there's a lot of different types of skiing, but as it pertains to military mountaineering and winter operations, we conduct what's known as backcountry skiing, and we use this very specific alpine touring setup that enables us to move very efficiently through the snow and up inclines. It provides great support on the downhill too, although mostly we're concerned with just moving around up and down slightly, sometimes up significantly. It's not a sport, it's a way for us to get around with all of our equipment. So as you can hear, it's pretty cold here by the crunch of the snow under my feet. It's been getting down to single digits. It's been beautiful during the day, but single digits at night. And some of the training that we do is just how to survive and kind of go beyond just the survival level in this environment, because if you are just surviving, you're not really able to do much more than that. So we like to say thrive in this environment. And of course, being in the military, we always have new soldiers. And so this is a great confidence builder to come out here in this environment, in these weather conditions, and show them that the equipment that they get issued with the Army, or from the Army, is fantastic, and it absolutely does the job.
Story that's very true about your swimming mountain crew. We'll choose Sandy Canyon without a spill.
So 10th Mountain Living History Display Group has joined us today, and I'd like to know, what are you guys doing out here?
So we're here to help support you all with Colorado National Guard and present to you some of the history that happened here at Camp Hale while you're doing your training here, and to show you what the 10th Mountain had going on.
So what have you brought here today to show us?
So basically here, what you have here behind us and what we're both wearing, or what would be basic issue to ski troopers in the 10th Mountain Division during World War II who were stationed here and where the division was formed here at Camp Hale. So basically this is the basic snow camo that 10th Mountain Trooper would wear with ski boots. We have 2 different versions of ski boots. So the pair of boots that I'm wearing are an earlier version. So when the 10th Mountain Division was formed, the Army was experimenting with ski troops and cold weather training, and they started the 87th Mountain Infantry Battalion, which eventually became the 87th Mountain Infantry Regiment at Mount Rainier at Fort Lewis. So because there was a lack of military equipment for skiing and cold weather, the Army started experimenting and reaching out to the civilian side. So because these ski boots are much different than his, this is actually a civilian version of what the Army started using. Eventually they started doing a lot of research and development and came up with the boots that he is wearing here, Greg is wearing, which is a combined version of a hiking boot and ski boot. So if you look at his soles, This is the early version of a Vibram sole. Vibram, being an Italian company, well, Italy, we're at war with Italy at the time, so we can't use their patents. So America actually stole the patents, and companies like DuPont and Goodyear started making the Vibram version of a sole, which they started using for the army. So from then on in, after the war, the Vibram sole, Italy had to get back these royalties from these companies. They had to pay into it, and then they signed a contract to keep the Vibram sole for 50 years, which ended in 1995. For those of you in the military or growing up and using hiking boots, you were very familiar with these Vibram soles, and this is where they started with these boots. So the leggings we wear, these are ski leggings. These are just mainly to keep the snow out of your boot. He's wearing the version of a ski pants, which had cargo pockets, zippered pockets, and it's a kind of a herringbone twill version. Or another type of pant they would wear would be a wool pant, or the regular issue wool pants. And they would wear all this under these white camouflaged pants here. We have our white Parkers, which were also reversible, which were green on one side and white on the other for different types of camouflage. And then, you know, it's all about a layering system. So the purpose of this was to keep you dry, keep the wind off of you, and you just wore layers underneath. All different kinds of wool layers.
So when I look at what you're wearing and think about the operations they conducted in these mountains, whether here or in Italy, it blows my mind every time, because what we have now is, so it's pretty state of the art, even for the civilian market. Everything that we wear, we do the same layering system. We have internal gaiters built into our pants now to keep the snow out, and of course our boots are much better than what they were wearing, both in forms of performance while skiing and the insulation value. So that just adds to their legacy and the respect that we have for those guys.
And it's really thanks to them. They were the pioneers that started it all, and the Army had to find something. You know, the examples were going on over there with Germany, Italy, and France all had mountain troops, and Germany had the most and the best. So we had to do something and had to start somewhere. So, you know, it's thanks to those troops that went through the grind to figure this all out, you know, on the fly.
Thanks a lot for coming out today, guys. I think it's very important that the role that you play in preserving the legacy of the 10th Mountain Division, because they're such an important part of Colorado, an important part of the Army, and as we know, the civilian market, whether it's ski areas or the gear that's been developed based on what they went through. So I really appreciate you guys taking the time to preserve that.
Our pleasure. It's all about keeping the history alive.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
The misery of sin. Along came the skier, fresh from off the slopes. He's the one that ruined me and shattered all my hopes. Singing 90 pounds of rucksack, a pound of grub or two. He was just a mountain like his daddy used to do. He asked me for a candle to light his way to bed. He asked me for a kerchief to cover up his head. I, like a foolish maiden, thinking it no harm, jumped into the steer's bed to keep